On behalf of the National Unity Government and the people of Myanmar, I would like to say thank you for organizing this event and inviting me to deliver the keynote speech. As the coming Union Day marks the 75th anniversary of the Banglong Agreement, it is important for us to take a retrospective look at our history. Before independence, modern-day Burma was made up of different autonomous regions being administered under the British colonial system. Chin in the west, Kachin in the north, Shan in the east, and Burma proper in the south and the middle of British Burma. Before the British occupation, even Burma proper was divided into many kingdoms: Mons in the south, Arakanese in the west, and the Myanmar kingdom in the Aravalli Valley. When the British were about to leave Myanmar and give independence, the people of Chin, Kachin, and Shan had a choice: either to join Burma proper or claim independence separately. The leaders of the Chin, Kachin, and Shan chose the first option, that is to join Burma proper and gain independence together. Therefore, General Aung San, a representative of the government of Ministerial Burma, and leaders of the Chin, Kachin, and Shan peoples pledged their future to build a federal democratic union together, a union that guarantees national equality, self-determination, and democracy, and a union that embraces freedom, justice, and equality. However, due to the failure of consecutive governments of Myanmar, not only did the ethnic minorities of Myanmar not receive national equality and self-determination, but the entire people of Myanmar also lost their democracy with successive coups under the military dictators. These failures to fulfill the Banglong Agreement and promise have resulted in the over 70 years long civil war across the country, also known as the longest running civil war in the world. This is why the country has become one of the poorest and one of the most isolated countries in the world, and generations of people have suffered the brunt of these conflicts and economic impacts. Although we saw a glimpse of hope for our freedom, democracy, and federal dream under the last Guzai civilian administrations and democratic transition, our hope has been trampled down by the recent attempt coup on February 1st, 2021. So far, successive military dictators have refused to implement the Banglong Agreement. The ethnic nationalities, aspiration of equality, individual rights, and peace were shattered as successive military regimes reject genuine federal democracy. Military dictators only understand their domination in politics by force. Following in the coup, more than 1,500 people have been cruelly killed, and around 13,000 have been arbitrarily arrested and severely tortured. The military has raided houses, torched villages, burned down towns, and burned people alive. They have been committing war crimes and gross human rights violations that result in the increase of IDPs to almost 1 million people across the country. The economy of the country has contracted by at least 18%, and the UN estimate that out of 54 million people in Myanmar, 25 million are living in poverty and over 14 million need humanitarian aid, including 5 million children. Therefore, we can no longer afford to let the military ruin our country and our people's livelihoods. It is time to act immediately to stop the brutality of the military, bring them down and save the country. That is why we formed the National Unity Consultative Council NUCC to bring together all the political forces across the country to eliminate the dictator system and create a federal democratic union that is based on the principle embodied in Panglong Agreement. Recently, the NUCC has drafted the Federal Democracy Charter and held the People's Assembly to ratify the Charter. The Charter outlines the political roadmap of the country from this interim period to the establishment of the Democratic Federal Union. It also outlines the principle that should shape the future of Myanmar, a new Myanmar which is federal in structure, democratic in its system and free in its value, a new Myanmar which protects the right of minorities as well as individuals, and a new Myanmar that is made up of a new society in which no one feels inferior, a new society which no one faces any form of discrimination, and a new society that guarantees equality, justice, and freedom. Only then will our Union Day become meaningful and a day we all should be so proud of. The National Unity Government of Myanmar is working with stakeholders such as ethnic, arms resistance groups, civil society organizations, political parties, civil disobedient movement, and Generation Z to create an all-inclusive political process in building a new Myanmar. Our government is committed to establishing a peaceful federal democratic country that guarantees human rights, equality, and justice for all people in Myanmar, including the Rohingya. We will build the professional military that will respect the human rights and rule of law under the legitimate civilian government. Despite their brutal terror campaign, the junta has not succeeded their attempt called against the democratically elected government as the people of Myanmar have resisted and united against military dictatorship. Our people's defense forces are winning new liberated territory every week. Many ethnic-armed resistance groups are joining hands to fight against military dictatorship. Thousands of patriotic soldiers have fled the junta's grasp to join the resistance movement, and our movement is building support from allies around the world. We are working with resistance forces to establish the people's administration and judicial system in liberated areas. It is time we seize back our democracy to establish a genuine federal union. I would like to take this opportunity to mention our sincere appreciation to the international community for your support for the resilient people of Myanmar. Our courageous people need your continued strong support on many fronts, such as providing increased material and technical support to aid our efforts in building a peaceful federal democratic union and denying junta's representative at international bodies. As we mourn our dead, let us also keep our eyes on the brighter horizon, the increasing light ahead of us as we come closer to federal democracy, peace and justice to a new Myanmar. In order to realize the visions, we all need to work together. Our cause shall triumph.